Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everybody, and good afternoon to those of you in the Eastern time zones. Welcome to our webinar. Today we will be discussing solutions to manage video surveillance and maintenance information for bus fleets. We have an hour scheduled for the webinar, but we'd like to save the last 15 minutes for your questions. So let's get right to it. Okay, to ask questions, please use your GoToWebinar control panel. It should look something like this. And you can ask questions through the webinar as they pop into your head. We will save most of them for the end. To hide most of your GoToWebinar control panel, if it's in your way or something, please click the little arrow on the top left. If you have a poor network connection, you may want to switch your audio to a phone. Select the phone call button, and you will be given a phone number you can call to listen to us. All right. My name is Julius Walczynski. I am the Senior Digital Marketing Specialist here at Seon SafeFleet. And on the line with me are two of my colleagues and our guest. My first colleague from the West, Scott Greenwald. Hello, Scott.
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for having us.
Great. And representing the Midwest is John Meyer. Hi, John.
Hello, Julius, and thank you for everyone for taking time out of your day to attend our discussion.
And we're very happy to have a special guest from San Diego, Jared Garcia, who is the safety manager at San Diego Metropolitan Transit System. Thank you very much for joining us today, Jared.
Good morning, good afternoon, and thanks for having me.
Super. All right, let's get right into it. So today we're going to be talking about three technologies, really video management, specifically for supervisor vehicles, vehicle inspections, and Wi-Fi downloading, as well as a centralized software system. Now, we're not going to get into too much technical or salesy type of content on this. We want this to be an informative webinar. So we'll be talking about the general benefits and problems that these systems solve. So, John, perhaps you can talk to some of the specific challenges that you're seeing agencies having trouble with.
Yeah, thank you, Julius. Yeah, some other common challenges that I hear transits are they have camera systems, but their teams have changed over the years, and some have never been trained on how to use the equipment and may struggle a bit with the troubleshooting and other challenges like having equipment from multiple vendors which require different programs to view the video. Mm-hmm. This leads us kind of right into the next slide, Julius.
All right. So a modern approach to fleet management. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, so having multiple software programs and processes really limits your ability to efficiently manage your fleet systems. Selecting a tool that integrates and shares data with other systems would really provide real-time access to how your fleet is performing and assist you in identifying areas that may need a technician to investigate further. Julius, this is a really good lead into the next slide as well,
where we will be talking about managing non-revenue vehicles.
Perfect.
You want me to go straight to the poll, John, or did you have something for here?
No, I think going right to the poll would be good.
Okay, so let me set this up here. Let me open the poll control panel. There we go. So we're asking you, what systems do you currently have in your non-revenue, like your supervisor vehicles? So please select one. You should be able to click right on the screen there to vote. Jared, perhaps you can tell us which one of these best describes San Diego's situation.
So for us, it'd be the second options, cameras and GPS, different than our buses. That's for most of our non-revenue vehicles, but our supervisor vehicles do have two systems for GPS tracking. One is the same system as our buses, and the other is not.
Mm-hmm. And how is that working out for you? You're finding benefits, difficulties with what you had or what you have right now?
Really no difficulties at all with the two systems, so both of them work pretty well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I see we've got almost half of you voting here, so we'll leave the poll up for another 3 seconds before I close. 1, 2, 3. And then let me share the results. All right, so 56% of you say you have no cameras or GPS tracking on your non-revenue vehicles. 22% selected option A, and 22%, like Jared, selected option B. So yeah, 56% of you selected option E. And I guess this is why we're having this webinar, right? We've identified like 3 areas that we feel from what we see in a field where our customers and people we visit are still kind of lagging behind, right? Everybody by now has video surveillance on their buses and other safety and efficiency tools, but supervisor vehicles and camera systems made specifically for supervisor vehicles are one of the 3 areas that we identified that there may be a bit of a gap. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, and I think if you go to the next slide, Julius.
Yeah. Here we go.
You nailed it, right? We are talking about sort of the last bastions of a fleet where agencies are struggling to have technology as a solution, right? So you saw that 56% don't have anything on supervisor vehicles, and the agencies that I speak to, and Jared included, with various issues within their fleet. There's a reason why you sort of need technology on a supervisor vehicle, even if you haven't thought about it in a while. The reality is there's a couple things going on. Number one is you've got an asset out there that, as small as it is, can create just as big of a problem as a very large vehicle, as a 40-foot, 30-foot bus, or even a paratransit, right? So you can have a Prius in an accident, and God forbid someone actually gets really injured, and it can turn into a multi-million-dollar lawsuit. So just because it's a supervisor vehicle doesn't mean your liability gets reduced at all. And the other thing is, if you do have some kind of abuse or potential abuse, there is, by putting vehicle on a vehicle. We spoke about this at the last webinar that we did, and it is called the Hawthorne effect. So it's simply creating an atmosphere whereby, being watched, people's behavior will change. So if you do have a potential for abuse, by putting a camera system in the vehicle, that potential probably gets reduced in terms of risk. And I know that that was one of your issues, Jared, that that you wanted to just make sure that you knew where the vehicle was, and if something happened, you know what happened. But you sort of had an evolution, right, within your fleet. Would you speak to that, Jared, sort of where you started and where you ended up?
Sure. Well, kind of first, I think just the camera systems in general, while I think most organizations, specifically public transit organizations, have them on all of their revenue vehicles, the systems give you an unbiased account of what may have happened. So when you're talking about non-revenue vehicles, it's likely only your employee that might be in the vehicle, and then some other motorist or someone else. So again, having that unbiased account of what may have happened, first and foremost, gives you the best information. And from that, you can validate whether a claim might be valid, or if there's some sort of complaint of unsafe driving, etc. You can quickly determine what happened. Kind of over time for us, we started with just our buses, and they were systems that you had to go physically pull the hard drive. And we've kind of evolved from that to Wi-Fi downloading. And since then, we've added cameras to all of our non-revenue vehicles, whether it's being driven by a manager, a supervisor, or a frontline employee. And so that's kind of where we're at now, to where any vehicle has at least a 2-camera system in the vehicle.
Yeah, and John, I know that you've got clients that this is an issue for them as well, and they may have slightly different issues that I outlined or that Jared's experienced. What have you experienced out in the field?
Yeah, I get this question quite a bit as to, we have the surveillance on our main fleet, but it's just something they want to add a system to go ahead and really make their system complete, and have the after the fact, knowing where the vehicle is located, what did occur, and exactly as Jared mentioned, is you have that unbiased video on. I thought I recall not seeing brake lights, but you know, essentially the video will show that, hey, indeed there were brake lights, or you went through a red light or a yellow light. So it can definitely help out.
How often do you guys see something like just a cheap dash cam that people get from Amazon, and what are your thoughts on that?
I don't see it in transit agencies. You know, you might see it among friends, but you know, you're spending public money on an asset that, on a theoretical basis, will be there for, call it 7 to 10 years, right? Lifetime of a vehicle in an agency, depending on the type of vehicle, et cetera, et cetera. But it's not something that they're going to want to put a $100 system in and think that they're going to be okay, right? They owe it to their agency that it needs to be a durable product that's going to withstand some elements, right? So I haven't seen it. John, maybe you have, but you know, there's a lot of solutions for supervisor vehicles, but I've never seen someone go to that level.
Yeah, unfortunately I've been at a couple different transits in the Midwest, and you have that conversation that, hey, I just picked up a couple of these systems for 2 vehicles just to try them out, and I picked them up at the local gas station along the highway or truck stop, and wanted to give them a try. And you follow up with them a couple weeks later, and they're like, well, you know, as you mentioned, John, the system didn't quite do what we were wanting it to do, and now it's in our recycling bin.
Yeah.
Wow, so quickly, 2 weeks. All right, well, what we recommend is a little bit more durable than that. Let me go to the next slide.
Well, you know, we've had what I would consider no solution for non-revenue vehicles prior to the introduction of this dual-facing camera, right? But regardless of what we have in our repertoire, what you need in this situation for a non-revenue vehicle is a smaller footprint in that windshield, because you're taking real estate space that, on a theoretical basis, could be a safety issue if you place that in the wrong location on the windshield. So you can't have, and you don't want, equipment, a dome camera, for example, sitting on your dash, which was, a solution for some time. So, we recently came out with a dual facing camera and a small 4-channel DVR that will integrate with this 1080p camera that fits within the ecosystem of all the other DVRs that we have. So it's inside the family, if you will, as opposed to the solution that we had prior was, a great solution, and I would sell it again tomorrow. But the caveat is it is a standalone solution. You're taking video and you're storing it separately. You're retrieving video separately. It's, you can't Wi-Fi downloaded, et cetera, et cetera. Whereas the solution we just came out with, all that is capable. You can use video downloading via Wi-Fi. It is high quality video, and it fits within our family of other products, our suite of DVRs. And so it just makes a lot more sense now that we have a smaller footprint to go to market with it. So the concept for, the folks on this webinar is, we're talking about the last bastion of arenas in your agency that you may be struggling with. This may be a solution for you. And, without being salesy with our product, the point of the webinar is to highlight there is an issue with non-revenue vehicles, either going outside the jurisdiction or causing accidents, but non-revenue vehicles are a risk, and you need to solve that problem somehow. Here's our solution, but there are others. But, for example, the next slide, as we get into to anything else, John, you have experience with, talking to clients about their solutions. I'm sure they're happy that this fits into their existing repertoire as opposed to having to go outside that ecosystem.
Yeah, it's the integration of the systems, which is really the key. And then and you're referring to the slide that we're on now, Scott?
Yeah.
Okay. And it's just taking the vehicles, gathering the information, and just making it simpler, and by having it more real time. And I know we'll get into this with the vehicle inspections, but it's that real-time information where they can make decisions much sooner than maybe waiting till the end of the day to find out that, well, maybe their video system wasn't working for the day. Right. Or there's something else that's a panel that's banging or something along those lines. If they can find those things earlier in the day, they can minimize any potential hazard that may happen when they take the vehicle out.
Well, the next area that we're talking about is vehicle inspections, right? And so this is a big leap in technology. So, Julius, why don't you introduce this poll on vehicle inspection?
Absolutely. And first, I want to apologize. There's the risk of working from home. The neighbor has decided to use a jackhammer on his balcony. So you may be hearing that. I'll be muting myself when I'm not talking. And in the meantime, let's ask everybody, what tools do you use for vehicle inspections? And here, choose all that apply. We're pretty confident that most of you will be using paper forms and a clipboard still, but we want to see how many of you might be using some of these other tools too.
Julius, as folks are filling this out, I would never tell which agency it is, but pretty large agency. When you're talking about using paper forms, they start out with a blank note card, and the driver walks around and takes notes and then hands that to their maintenance supervisor, who has to go through all those handwritten things. Well, imagine that chaos in the morning of which vehicles you have to hold back because they wrote a note that the tires tread was low or some issue that may cause the vehicle to stay inside their fleet. So a paper form would be a step above a note.
Excellent. Almost half of you have voted. Last few seconds for the stragglers here. 3, 2, 1. Let's close this poll. Let's share the results. Yeah, no surprise. 83% of you are using paper forms and clipboard. 8% of you chose option B, so some sort of all-purpose digital tool like Excel. And some of you do have specialized vehicle inspection tools. Okay, Let's hide this. And let's move on. All right, so yeah, Scott, talk a little bit more about that, the disadvantages of paper, the advantages of real-time information, and so on.
So again, bringing everyone back to where we started, we're talking about technologies that, help you manage your fleet. And if you're using paper, you're now outside the technology realm. And, just that walking back and forth from the vehicle back to the yard to inspect something, and if something's wrong, just all that manual labor that's just being wasted, as opposed to having a tablet in your hand that has questions that you can customize and answer, and once you hit submit, hits the cloud and goes to the manager's desk, right? So you're getting immediate feedback with pictures or video, whatever however your inspection is set up, but you're getting real-time information, or virtually real-time information. And from a maintenance manager's perspective, he's able to look at all those inspections and put a hierarchy to the issues, again, almost in real time. So if your fleet, is really busy and everyone's leaving, to get on the road at 7:30, you've got 15, 20 vehicles leaving at that time, that, it can be chaotic. And so if you had a way to organize and structure all that information and give it to the maintenance manager in a way that he can make informed decisions, then, you're just that much ahead of the game. Right. And so that, if you're talking about technology, there's, things that this cloud solution can bring to the table, right? So it knows where the inspection was taking place, knows how long it took you to do the inspection. So it knows if the driver was sitting in the office and it took him a minute to do the inspection, it wasn't a real inspection, right? And so I think that this is a big leap in technology that clearly most of the people on this webinar are suffering under, right? It's a regime that you don't want to keep following. It's a regimen that you want to change, in my opinion, talking to agencies that are struggling with this. I know, John, you've got clients that struggle with this too.
Yeah, the thing I like about this image is here we have one of our transit heroes out there. Looks like he's doing a pre-inspection, and the great thing about it is he's actually outside of the driver's seat. I think that's common that I hear is, well, we have drivers that take 30 seconds to do the pre-trip inspection, and they're doing it in the driver's seat. So there's no way they're going to know if the tire's low, is there the brake lights working, and everything else in the vehicle. And so I think, if there was a way to ensure that inspection was actually performed, and where they maybe would be during that inspection, I think would be key. Don't you think, Scott?
Yeah. Well, from a management of the process standpoint, which would you rather have, right? Sort of a dashboard. They gave you all the data across, let's call it 25, 50 vehicles simultaneously. Would you like that dashboard just to, allow you to look at it simultaneously? Or do you want to go through 50 flashcards and try to decipher which driver meant what when he said low tire? So I would not want to do that. And I know that agencies struggle with it. And my understanding is, right, you're buying these pre-fabricated forms, and you're buying a lot of them to save money. So you're into this project for years and years, and you have to get out of it somehow, which means that you can't change the question. So Julius, move to the next slide. I think that gives the webinar, the topography of what we're talking about here. So on the far right-hand side, you've got the vehicle with a tablet. And now the driver's taking that tablet. He's walking around the vehicle. He's answering the questions. Once he finishes the inspection and signs it and hits submit, if he's in Wi-Fi range, then that'll go to the cloud. Immediately that hits the supervisor's front desk, and he's able to see, John finished his inspection for bus 123. It's got low tire tread. I see a picture of the tire tread, and he's failed the inspection for that tire tread. I see the tire tread from this picture, but he's got at least 2,000 more miles before we need to pull that vehicle. And so he can go out today. I'm going to release the vehicle, pass it with notes that will change the tire Friday, right? So very simple process where you can customize your questions, see immediate results, act on those results in a prioritized, managed way, as opposed to reactive. Oh shoot, we let bus 102 out. What about the tire tread? Oh, I didn't see that note on that piece of paper that got lost. It's just a completely different managed approach. And now comes your annual inspection, where the Department of Transportation is involved. They can, as you know, they come on your property and they're going to take 10% of your vehicles at random and walk through the process of a failed inspection and show me when it was repaired, et cetera, and let me show all that paperwork. You can do that same process with this system, but you would only have to print it on demand during your annual inspection with Department of Transportation. You wouldn't have to print off anything in between then. But we've checked with regulations. We've worked with, or talked with clients that have talked to these guys, and they're fine with cloud-based solutions. It does not have to be a paper-based solution. So, John, I know that you have clients that struggle with this daily, and there's just so many advantages of this. What's your key takeaway on the vehicle inspection cloud-based?
Yeah, I agree. It's something that when you look at the use of paper today, it works. It's kind of been proven that's the de facto standard that's out there in the market. But once you look at what you add the capability to do and see the actual results of better information, and not only better information, but transactional information almost immediately. That Wi-Fi connection, or even through that cellular connection, it's the fleet manager or maintenance manager is able to make decisions based off of, as soon as you hit that submit button, that vehicle needs to be pulled and that driver needs to be on time. We need to get a new vehicle out there for that driver to go ahead and hit his time.
Thanks for that, guys. We have a quick time for a quick question from Thatcher. He's asking, is this just software or is hardware involved as well?
It's both, Patrick. So we have a tablet that you can use. It's a hardened tablet, but you can use any device that will take an Android app. And so it is hardware driven. It doesn't need to be our hardware. If you have your own Android devices on the vehicle, or if you're allowing your bus drivers to use their own Android device, then the rest of it is just software. You're just signing into a cloud-based solution, and depending on your admin rights, your rights given to you by the admin, will tell you what you can and can't do with that app.
Thanks, Scott.
Hope that answers your question.
Yeah, and just to bring up a point, you repeat a point that you brought up on a previous slide. We think that the ability to customize the questions is huge. I know when we were researching this, that definitely came up, right? With paper, you have to get the form, the questions just right before you get to the printer. And even with some of the the specialized tools out there right now, it's not so easy to change the questions and the flow of the questions for the pre and post-trip inspections. So the flexibility of this is, I think, something that we definitely worked on.
Yeah, but I'll be talking to an agency, and we have, for example, in our video system, an event trigger that sits near the bus driver, and he can mark video should there be an incident. And as I'm talking to agencies about the event trigger, I always bring up, is that on your pre and post inspection? Because that event trigger signals whether the video system is healthy, right? And so if you've got the correct light on your event trigger when you start the vehicle up, then you'll know that you're recording video and you should be good to go. And always bring it up with clients about their inspections, and then I get a deer in the headlights. I can't really change my vehicle inspection. I haven't ordered new forms yet, or I can't really change them. So it's a huge problem.
Exactly. All right, and we'll be talking about event triggers in the next section, which is managing data and info, and specifically video data. Let's have one more poll here. So let me, go to the poll control panel. Launch this poll. All right. What challenges you about retrieving video data? Select all that apply. The manual hard drive retrieval process can be pretty daunting, and hard drives can be lost and damaged and misplaced because of it. Perhaps you're in a very hot or in a winter very cold state, and you do not want to leave your nice office chair to get those hard drives. Pulling hard drives out can lead to mix-ups or forgetfulness. Maybe you leave the hard drive on a desk. And another challenge that I think, Jared, maybe you can speak to in just a moment, is just increased video requests from all sorts of stakeholders. Is that what you're experiencing, Jared? Which one of these?
Well, real quick, Julius, the poll looks like it's still for the vehicle inspections on my screen.
Sorry.
Yep.
I don't know if we need to go to another screen.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, there you go, Julius.
Give me a second. One moment. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I think, let me just double check here.
Yeah, that's fine, Julius.
Yeah, I think I've lost that poll somewhere.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty evident, I think, and it's not just going to be one of these. It's going to be multiple, and at least from most of the transits that I speak with, when they talk about it, it's, I'm in Minnesota, I'm in Michigan, it's cold. When we have to go out there, it's to pull video, and then I got to find the vehicle, and there's so many ways to do it better. And I think that's going to predominantly be most people's responses are going to be multiple of these items.
All right. Sorry about that, guys. You can always put in your poll answers via chat or via the questions, and maybe we'll discuss them quickly at the end of the webinar. All right. So let's move on. All right, John. So keep going. You sounded good when you started there.
Yeah. So it really comes down to is the vehicles themselves have the DVRs installed in them, and I have some sort of recording media, whether that's a hard disk drive or a solid state memory device, whether it's a drive or an SD card, and having to physically go out and pull it from a vehicle after you've tracked it down into where is it parked in the yard. It can be a little overwhelming, especially in the larger fleets where you have more than 50 plus vehicles, and trying to track that down. It's basically almost a full-time job, not just for one person, but for multiple people. And in doing so, it works, but with the current environment that we're typically in right now is a lot of employees are working remotely. I'm at a transit this week where the individual that I'm meeting, or individual teams that I'm meeting with, everybody's working from home. So we're coming in kind of shifts, just to social distance and from an availability, but having the ability to get access to video without having to pull that hard drive. If there's a way that you can go ahead and get that information, somebody that's working from home, they're able to go ahead and review that video, find out what information they need, and make decisions based off of it. And I think having a cloud or a web-based tool provides you that secure access to review that video quickly. And I know, like you mentioned earlier, Julius, is that, Jared, I believe you have some specifics about, what you're seeing with the number of video retrievals.
Yeah, absolutely. The demand for video retrievals has done nothing but go up and up. Particularly, I think, as other stakeholders, other agencies, whether it's law enforcement or even just people that know that your vehicles have cameras on them and they're, the vehicle is now a witness to some sort of an event. The demand for those requests just keep going up and up. We pull video from our buses or vehicles for every accident, any complaint we receive for unsafe driving, or even any write-up or observation letter that a supervisor might write up a frontline employee for. So any instances like that, we try and retrieve the video and take an unbiased look at what happened. So as you get these systems into all of your vehicles, you should expect for increased demand to retrieve and look at these videos.
Fantastic.
All right, thank you, Jared. Quick question for you, Jared. What kind of resources, like human resources, do you have for dealing with those video requests? Is it like a part-time job for some of your people? Do you have somebody full-time working on that?
So we do, in fact, have one full-time position that their almost only responsibility is to go and retrieve and store video. Mm-hmm. They do a couple of other things on the side, but that's probably 80% of their job is just going out and getting video, requesting the video, looking at the video, and then storing it for other managers to be able to go back and reference.
All right, thank you, Jared. John, next slide here for you. Our solutions.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. So from here, you can the diagrams show you they got a couple transit vehicles in a parking area, and you get the Wi-Fi symbol, and then you show an overhang with what looks to be an antenna off of it. So really what this is just showing is implementing a Wi-Fi communication system to go ahead and provide that access to the data that's residing on your DVRs, which is going to give you information about, is the DVR healthy? Is everything operating? Are all the cameras operating? What about the accessories that are on there as well? And so that Wi-Fi communications is the key critical component there to access video evidence and potentially critical system information about your fleet. So a reliable and secure Wi-Fi network is really a critical component of that. And in order to implement something at your location, is all transit agencies and how they manage where their vehicles are parked, how long they're parked there. It's very, very complex. And so ensuring that you're working with a certified wireless network professional and your IT team is critical. It's just knowing, do we have complete coverage? Was a site survey performed? It's just making sure everything works in all situations. And another part of that is just documentation. I've been traveling around the the last couple months and going into different transit agencies, and a common question is, well, we're not sure what we have or where the equipment's located. And it's having that documentation just to help troubleshoot if communications do go down, lightning strikes occur, components, just electronic components, power supplies fail after 5-10 years sometimes, and so you just never know. And so those are very helpful items that we're finding in going out and talking with agencies.
Mm-hmm. And this could be an entire topic for an entire other webinar. And in fact, we did have a webinar on this topic. I think in the follow-up email to everybody here, I'll send you the recording for this webinar, but I'll also send you a recording for this older webinar that we did for Wi-Fi downloading. I think you'll find it quite useful. And Wi-Fi is only part of the solution. It needs to work with the right software. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, that's the key part of it, is having that centralized software to go ahead and provide the fleet manager, the maintenance manager, even the executive director, the ability to know, is my fleet working to the best of its ability? And if you can connect to all your vehicles via that Wi-Fi access point in your parking areas, you're going to be able to get all that critical information. So we're showing an image here of our dashboard, basically for our Commander tool, and it's cloud-based. But what you're seeing there is an overview on how many vehicles are in my fleet, how many do I know are connected on the yard at the present time, and then is there something where my vehicles are out of service due to maintenance? Are they overdue in their communications, and is it because there's a problem with the Wi-Fi, or maybe the vehicle is just not on the site at that time and for some reason hasn't communicated in a couple days? But it really gives you a good overview on the equipment on your vehicles. Well, are the cameras all operating as they should be? Are your hard drives operating? So not only does the event trigger, and that gives the driver an indication of the health of that system, but it also, with this dashboard, it provides the fleet manager the ability to see that information as well. And that's really key to go ahead and to be able to manage their system and all the information that can be viewed from it. So other things that we can do here is, we're mentioning downloading videos. So giving you the ability to manually download a video and even automatically do it. So if an event would occur, the vehicle comes back on the parking lot, you can automatically download that video for viewing by your fleet surveillance team at any point in time once it's down actually at the parking area. So, and the key is really it's providing an assurance that when the vehicle leaves the yard, all systems are fully operational. Those are really kind of the key points there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the system health monitoring is pretty key there, isn't it? You'd hate to get into an accident and then find out that your camera actually is offline or not working.
Yeah, it really is. I was at a transit yesterday, and I got pulled aside to talk about another item, and I got on one of the vehicles, and they were showing one of their cameras weren't working. And we looked at the system, and quickly we were able to determine that, well, when they pulled the camera from where it was mounted by the rear door, coincidentally it wasn't connected anymore. And so unfortunately, at one point in time, to disconnect the cable or to disconnect the camera to look at it, the locking tab on it was broken, and the camera wasn't even connected. And we connected it back up, put the right connector on there, and got everything working. And lo and behold, that camera requiring attention notice went away. So all is well. So having that information earlier is always the key thing to ensure the safety of everyone.
We'll take a quick question here. We have a question from Quinn about the automatic alerts. He's asking, what are the possible triggers for an automatic video download?
Yeah, that's a great question. And the DVRs are programmable to a point where you can set up events in the DVR or different errors that may occur. So depending on whether you want to have from a turn signal that was not used in a certain situation, or the G-force sensor that exceeded the requirements, then you can go ahead and have that automatically highlighted, and it'll go ahead, and once that vehicle pulls into the parking area, then it'll go ahead and start that download and bring that up. So hopefully that covers the question there.
Yes, thank you. One more quick question on this topic from Jay. Jay is asking, so is the health check only available when connected to Wi-Fi?
So great question on that. And most cases, the answer is yes. So you're going to need that Wi-Fi connectivity to that vehicle. Now, there is the ability to put in a cellular router that would connect up to your vehicles as well. And so we also provide live views. So if you're in a situation where maybe there was a bad actor that you needed to go ahead and get on that vehicle and check it, that you could go ahead and log in and view the live video at that time. And I want to double check for sure, just to be sure from our software team that cellular connectivity will still go ahead and show that vehicle, what that health would be at that time.
Right. So
that's something, if you would, Julius, we can get back to that question.
Thank you. All right, we're getting close to the end of the main part of our presentation. So John, tie it all together for us.
Yeah, thank you. And so really the fleet manager that we see here kind of as a hub, right, is if you provide them an ability, a tool where they can assess the health of their fleet, is really a critical component to maximize the efficiency of their operations. It's something where if you have access to the communications to the buses via Wi-Fi, your non-revenue vehicles, and you see the trip inspection reports, it's having the ability to go ahead and look at from a driver or somebody having to walk across the lot to find where's bus number 1002. Where is it located? I need to pull the hard drive. It's that efficiency and being able to do that at a software level where you can pull that video, whether you're automating it or if you're doing a manual download, and then be able to give them the ability to review that video within a few minutes time, as opposed to having to wait maybe 30 minutes or an hour to get that information. So the other part of that is the surveillance system for your non-revenue vehicles. It just provides another level of insurance to where are your vehicles when they're out and about. Are they where they're supposed to be? And the benefit of using one system like what we're providing is you're using the same communications link, the same software that is able to review that information. So it just makes it much simpler instead of having to learn yet another software system that's out there. And then from a trip inspection reports is moving from paper to the digital world for digital pre and post inspections. It really is ensuring the inspections are thorough. It gives you that customizability where a lot of people will say, okay, well, it's I know I'm a creature of habit and I've done this inspection 100 times, and so it's A, then B, and then it's B again, then A, and then C is kind of make it where it's a little more random. So the correct answer or the answer that we're looking for isn't always the same position. It kind of jumbles it up a little bit, and just to kind of give the indication of, okay, are they really doing the inspections? Are they out and actually seeing anything? So I think that's all key to go ahead and get those inspections done, make sure they're thorough, and provide the video and camera images, if requested, to help identify the problem sooner. Scott, would you like to add anything there?
No, I think that you did a nice job of tying it all together, right? Is we're talking to clients and agencies. These three areas always seem to pop up. If they have yards that are in different locations, right? It's not necessarily a single location that they're managing. If they've got multiple yards, this technology really helps them, get an overview of their entire fleet, right? So usually they're blind in those remote locations. So again, we're just trying to help clients get to the next level to help manage their fleets without having to, resort to systems that are basically archaic, right? Or puts them in a situation where their liability, their exposure is just exponentially increased, or by using technology can be decreased, right? And I think that's where we are.
Excellent. Okay, we will get to your questions in just a moment. I see a few of them, so keep typing them in. We're just going to have a very short commercial break here, tell you a little bit about ourselves. Scott, go ahead. Tell us about SafeFleet and particularly the relationship with Seon and MobileView.
Yeah, I think there is some confusion in the marketplace. Seon and MobileView are companies that have now been combined and are under the umbrella of SafeFleet. So you won't see products with a Seon or MobileView logo on them anymore. You'll just see the SafeFleet logo. And so if you trusted either MobileView or Seon products in your past, you can feel confident that we're going to take care of you in the future. The software that we're building is backwards compatible to both Seon and MobileView products to a point, right? We didn't write software for 20-year-old products. So our goal is to continue creating great products for these vertical markets you see on the right side of this pie chart. We're not only in transit, but we have a very large presence in law enforcement and waste. And for example, we just won the RFP for the California Highway Patrol. So our sister company will be putting in 2 cameras and a body cam to the California Highway Patrol, and that video is going straight to the cloud. And the only reason I tell you that side story is that eventually all of the video players under the SafeFleet umbrella, similar to the Seon and MobileView acquisitions, will be under one user interface. So the software that we're developing for Highway Patrol will eventually help transit, and it will all eventually just merge. And that's with the help of all the folks that you see on the left-hand side. We have more engineers than we do sales folks and guys in the, trying to talk to people about things. We have just a tremendous amount of development going on. So I'm very proud to work for this company. I think that we have great products currently and the go-to-market strategy on future products. So I think this pie chart on what we do and who we service is just a great visual for me.
Thanks, Scott. John, a very quick overview of which of our products people might be familiar with already.
Yeah, so just basically a picture of a transit vehicle here, and I won't read everything there, but you can see that there's an awful lot of our equipment, our solutions that are on there. So we offer many technology solutions, not only for the transit market, but also other markets like Scott had mentioned. So just to list a couple here: surveillance systems, fleet management, driver behavior in the future are just a few examples of the products that we're providing to customers. Key things here are really takeaways are all technologies designed and engineered by our technical teams. So it's equipment that we're designing based off of our experience in the market, talking with customers, meeting with customers. We do a variety of customer surveys and communications with them to really make sure that we're providing solutions that are going to help them based on their needs. So we provide solutions to ensure the safety of your fleet, employees, and of course your passengers. And one of the other key takeaways is we're leveraging tomorrow's technology today. And by partnering with us, you're going to be a part of that. And we look forward to the opportunity to earn your business. Please contact us. Scott, do you have anything else you want to add? Perfect.
Yeah, let's quickly move on to just a brief highlight of some of our clients. This is to showcase that we have clients from really big agencies such as San Diego and New York, down to ones with well, maybe a dozen or 22 buses. All right, let's get to the questions. This is always my favorite part of the webinar. I see a few questions already. Keep typing them in. Jay had the first question of the webinar. This was back when we were talking about supervisor vehicles and our solution for it. What is the resolution for live stream? Scott, perhaps you can take that.
So live stream will be different than the resolution you're going to be getting on your video recorder, because video is going through the internet, and the internet will buffer the resolution. So I can't tell you. We'd have to get back to you on what the resolution is over cellular. I don't know that answer particularly, but it will be a lower quality than you would get certainly on the DVR itself.
Yeah, so real quick, I can actually talk to that a little bit more. So I got a customer that's utilizing live stream today that we have our new Duet camera in, and the tool gives you the ability to stream at a lower resolution, so more like a D1 type of a video resolution, and it also gives you the ability to do at 1080p. So yes, it's all going to be dependent on your network in the background that you have connecting to the vehicle, but it does provide a very nice image. And in fact, within a short period of time here, we should have a couple video that we're going to be sending out there from our marketing team that will show some live video of that. So please keep in contact with us. And Julius, if you write down the customers or the attendees' name and information, we can share that with them.
Absolutely. And yeah, we are recording this webinar, and we will be sharing the recording with you later, and we will also be following up with you via email. Scott, a question for you from Bo about the vehicle inspections. When does the inspection report download to our software, or do I have to purchase new software?
Bo, there is, it's an app-based system, so you would be, there's a couple of fees involved. There's an initial setup fee to get your agency set up and to get the questions correct. So there's that setup, and then there's an annual license per vehicle fee. But absent those two fees, there are no other costs involved. So you can change the questions an unlimited number of times. We don't care, that kind of thing. But the annual fees that you're paying are for the information to be hosted in the cloud. Bo, I hope that answers your question. And if not, then my contact information is available after this. I can certainly clarify if you wish.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Scott. John, a question for you from Brock about the Wi-Fi. What device does the bus need to have wireless downloading? Is it a mobile router, or is the Wi-Fi card in a hard drive or the NVR?
Yeah, the great question, because there's so many different options that's out there in the market today. And so our DVRs, what we found is that by connecting up to whether it be a wireless bridge, which is an Ethernet, to a Wi-Fi connection through an antenna, that's a very common way. and then customers that maybe are looking at adding cellular in the future, or if they want to be able to leverage their existing router that may be in there talking to their CAT AVL system, that you can go ahead and we'll call it piggybacking off of that network connection. So there's quite a few different ways you can do it. I know there are some systems out there that integrate in an internal wireless solution as well. And what we found from our research is that the signal strength isn't quite where we really need it to be to get the best connection, as well as just from adoption for the future when newer technologies come out. A lot of these newer modems that are kind of a standalone, that those are readily upgradable, where an internal one may not be as readily kind of updatable. So it just depends on the technology that's out there. Hopefully that gives you a decent idea on what's required.
Thank you, John. We are at the bottom of the hour, 1 minute past. In fact, I see one more question here that we'll answer in a moment. But for those of you who have a hard stop now, thank you very much for joining us. Please fill out the survey on your way out. First two questions are about how you enjoyed this webinar and what topics you would like to see on future webinars, and then a few questions about gauging your interest, whether you're in the technologies that you saw here. So your last chance to ask some questions. We got one from JT. John, I'll direct this one to you as well. It's
Sure.
about the software. Who owns the video?
So that's a great question, in that we have a couple different solutions for a fleet manager tool, whether it's on premise, where all of the video, all of the, we'll call it metadata, which is the information about your GPS and your turn signals and the different accessories, all that resides at the customer's location on a server. And so customer will always own all of that data. And if a cloud solution is selected, it's the same end result, is all the video and all of that metadata is always available, not only available, but owned by the end customer. So there's nothing from our perspective where we have access to it unless you provide us access for troubleshooting.
Right, and it's our own kind of proprietary video format, and I know we have a very robust, what do you call it? I guess a chain of custody protocols and systems for it. So when, in case somebody like the police agency does need to get your video, you own it, and it's very well documented as to who you're passing it to. Okay, I think those are all the questions that I see. No, wait, one more. It's a technical question. I'm not sure we'll be able to answer this, but John, give it a try. What is your GPS refresh speed? Another question from Jay.
That's a great question, and you're exactly right, Julius. I unfortunately don't have that off the top of my head, but
we'll ask around, Jay.
We'll ask around, we can
answer that question.
Quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, John, Scott, and Jared. Thank you for joining us. On your way out, like I said, please do answer that survey, and then look for follow-up emails with the recordings. I should be sending those out probably tomorrow. Thank you all.
All right, great. Have a great day, everybody.